So Texas survives
Yep.
39-31 against Arizona State. Look, I thought that Texas was about to put 60 on these dudes really early. They were already up 14 within the first 4 or 5 plays that they ran. And then all of a sudden, you started to see the Texas team that we've witnessed all year not play up to their potential. I get that Quinn Ewers ain't that good, but that defense has been leaking major oil these last 2 games. This is not elite defense, in my opinion. You got Jade
Yeah.
Barron, you got some pretty good edge rushers, but they haven't really played up to the level in the playoffs that we've seen them have in the regular season. I kind of feel like Texas kind of has benefited from playing a weak SEC this year, just like Georgia. And, Clemson has success throwing on them. Sam Levitt has success throwing on them, along with Cam Skattebo running on them.
Hmm.
I was very shocked that Arizona State got back into this game. And I think it's a testament to, one, the great coaching that they got from Kenny Dillingham. And two, Texas just underperforming. I have yet to see a game outside of when they went on the road and handled Michigan where this has looked like one of the best teams in college football.
Yeah, Arizona State is interesting, right? And I don't think people give Kenny Dillingham as much credit as like he deserves. So I'm gonna throw some flowers at him. Think about all the sanctions that have been happening with Arizona State.
From Herm
And the
Edwards.
team that turned out to be in the first 12 team playoff, Arizona State has sucked since I've been alive. I mean, I remember of course, when Jake Plummer used to play there and stuff like that. But like, let's really think about it. Like, Jaden Daniels was the best thing to happen to Arizona State. He got us chirping, and then all his teammates trashing his locker, and he transfers to LSU, and we proceed to see the ass whooping that he was putting on people. uh, but the thing with Texas, you're absolutely right, man. It's one of those things. It's like you reflect with Steve Sarkisian right now, and it's like, dude, do you wish you would have had your front seven from before this shit? Before this year,
Yeah.
if those guys would have stayed, they would be the absolute dominant team that everybody expects them to be. And then also in the second half of this, man, shout out to Arizona State for the defensive line that they have put together. Those guys didn't get enough credit for what they did, and they took a page out of Georgia's book. And in the second half, they really started turning up the rush for Quinn Ewers and
Yeah.
making Quinn Ewers feel very, very
They
uncomfortable.
used a lot of
Look,
double mud looks, which kind of surprised me, but it also costed
yeah,
them in the end because they gave up that touchdown for first play. Well, on fourth down and OT using that
yep,
look, and Quinn Ewers picked it up and he audible to the right play.
yeah. Quinn Ewers is inconsistent, man. I've been saying this from the jump. Like, I wanted him to improve on the deep ball, and then he
Hmm.
reverted back to like, yeah, I have a really good deep ball, but my intermediate game sucks now. So it's like, what was the trade off that happened this year with that? But I've said it once and I'll say it again. There's two things I took away from this game. Jordan Tyson being out for Arizona State
Hmm.
sucks so bad for them.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, Arch Manning not getting a shot against Georgia and staying in that game gave them no perception on what to expect of what that kid could have did when the pass rush was in his face. Because you can't tell me that Quinn Ewers is going to be better with the pass rush. We saw it happen time and time again that he's not. But Arch Manning gives you a little bit of that mobility that you would need
Hmm.
for him to make a better decision and to roll out and see what he can do. Like, Matthew Golden is a top
Yeah.
five receiver in college football.
Yeah. He
I
he was
think he I,
balling.
I
He's
think
better.
he
He
proved it.
I seen him make more plays than Isaiah Bond.
And Isaiah Bond was supposed to be that dude. I mean, really and truly. I don't know if you saw the tweet that happened from what's that kid's name that transferred to Washington that was there? He
Oh,
he
you talking about Jonte Cook?
Yeah, that laughed when
Yeah.
they were talking about, Quinn Ewers wanting to take a contract and stay in college football, and he's just like,
That
bro,
boy
he ain't it.
trash. Yeah, like
Yeah, he ain't it.
like my thing when Sam Levitt said that he was gonna show the world he was the better quarterback, and people were saying he's being too cocky, like who is him? I was like, y'all must not have been watching a lot of Arizona State football.
He
Because
was
like
balling.
yeah, he was looking like Bo Nix 2.0 out there.
Yeah, and people don't realize Jeff Sims is his backup. Jeff Sims was a legit starter at Georgia Tech that goes in Nebraska and was supposed to be the guy. and then goes to Arizona State, and people expect him to be the guy again because
Yeah.
Sam Levitt, he was supposed to be the backup plan for Sam Levitt. Like, people don't realize this, and Sam Levitt beat him out all spring to be in the position that he's in, and you kind of felt they felt anemic when he was. Remember, he was out halfway through the season. He was out a
And when
couple
Jeff
games.
Sims came in, it was not looking good. But I mean,
No,
how about that boy Cam Skattebo, man? I think that Cam Skattebo perfectly encapsulates everything that makes college football great. This was somebody that out of high school only had one offer, Sacramento State. And then he
hmm
enters the transfer portal, and just completely becomes a household name in the playoffs. And it kind of has like a March Madness feel to it because everybody kind of rallies
facts.
behind
Yep.
like huge underdog stories, and you look at Cam Skattebo, you talk about somebody that laid it all on the line. You talk about somebody that played with heart, passion. I mean, this was his flu game. He didn't look good on the sidelines. He was throwing up. Brother was still coming in, throwing touchdown passes, running over Texas defenders. You feel me? Catching clutch passes as well. I mean, this was one of those games where you hate to see the underdog lose because this was the first time we actually saw underdog actually challenged, the team that was favored to blow them out. I have
Yeah.
nothing but respect for Kenny Dillingham. And even Deion Sanders came out and gave him roses and said, without a doubt, he deserves Coach of the Year because, I mean, like, Deion did a good job at Colorado. But Kenny Dillingham inherited an even worse situation than what Dion got. With all the sanctions, they only had three
Thank you.
million in
Yep.
NIL money. Like this was one of the best coaching jobs. Period. Nobody cares about the conference. You feel me? Just pure
Yeah.
coaching. This was an incredible job.
And the president of Arizona State, people don't know he's kind of a douchebag. Like, he's very stringent with his money, and now all the sanctions that happen with them, it's even worse. I mean, you're hard pressed to think that the job that Kenny Dillingham did, no other coach in America could have did it. Put Ryan Day, Kirby Smart, even we love Dan Lannon. I mean, Dan Lannon, I don't. Is it an indictment on just how good Kenny Dillingham is, or did he just take everything that was good about everywhere that he's been and encapsulated and made it in his own way? Because one thing I can say about Kenny, and I'm a Florida State guy. I remember when he was at Florida State. He's creative. He cares about his players. He's a hell of a recruiter. And I think it's one thing to be said. I mean, he's my age. He's 34 or 30, 34, 35, right? Being a little bit younger and understanding these kids too, all I think is starting to help
Yeah.
with the whether the generation is because he understands and he understands that it's okay to be a little bit emotional too and connect with these guys. The older guys are like, oh, this is not a grown man guy, it's
Yeah.
a grown man game and they no crying in football. But he's the type of dude that's like, I understand the struggles that we had. I'm gonna cry a little bit of tears because I'm happy for these dudes. So I think that resonates with his players a lot, and they have that warrior mentality that win, lose, or draw. This was all for Kenny at the end of the day. This wasn't for us. And Cam Skattebo, I've been talking about him for years, man. I don't. People just now got put on. I got followers hitting me up right now. In my DMs talking about, man, you called it with Cam Skattebo a couple years ago. I'm like, he's that dude, man. And I do a little trolley post with the Travis Hunter thing, and I'm like, Cam
Yeah.
Skattebo over Travis Hunter, and some people get upset, but I'm just giving him his flowers because I think when we talk about dynamic players, I mean, you saw the touchdown pass that he had. I mean, the dude punts the ball too. He could go out there and play. He's played some defensive snaps. Like, I know a lot of people have Travis Hunter, but like we got to start giving Cam Skattebo his flowers for being the ultimate football player too, because he's willing to do anything. And like you said, throwing up on the sidelines, I'm pretty sure he has broken ribs right now. I don't know if you saw that play. He got hit and he immediately grabbed his side and he's running to the
Yeah.
sideline. Like, I think he had broken ribs and he was in pain, and that's why he was throwing up on the sideline. But like, dude's a freaking warrior, man. I this is my hot take, JT. Because of that performance that happened, that and when we get down to the Senior Bowl, I'm gonna ask him this. Do you think you're getting more highly scouted than Ashton Genty at this point in time? I think we
Yeah.
might see a flip that might happen because I don't know if Ashton Genty is going to get chosen in the first round. If the Cowboys are sitting there and they feel froggy, I think obviously that's the place he's going to go to. But if he has a good off-season program with these, these all-star games, and if he kills his pro day, he might be the first running back chosen off the board just from
He's
what they saw in this
bigger.
game.
He's bigger, and if he runs like 4.4, I think if he runs 4.4, I could see him being the first round pick. You know, he's good in pass pro as well. And with Genty, the big criticism people have on him is his size. Like some people say he's 5'8", some people say he's 5'9". You feel me? I could see a world where that kind of happens because there are players all the time that nobody really thinks will get drafted high, and then they end up inserting themselves into the first round conversation based off what they do during the combine, during the Senior Bowl. Prime example, Trayvon Walker.
Yep. And to add on to that, I think the running back that lost out on that sweepstakes, and I clearly believe that he would have been chosen over Genty in these offseason programs, but he really needed to prove it against Ohio State, was Dylan
Dylan
Sampson.
Sampson.
I think
Yeah.
Dylan Sampson would have been the first one off the board, and he would have bro, you can't tell me for 1 second those 2 rushes that he had and he was getting right back up. I think he was about to do something dirty to Ohio State
He carried Tennessee all year long. But what
all
what we're
year.
what we're on the topic.